Hello, thank you for joining us. I'm Kan Young-ho from the Korea Herald. Here are the top stories of the week. South Korea has unveiled the roadmap of a Korean New Deal stimulus package that aims to invest over 160 trillion won, around $133 billion, and create 1.9 million jobs over the next 5 years. Calling it the nation's new centennial blueprint, President Moon Jae-in said Tuesday the Korean New Deal is a paradigm shift to leap forward into a pace-setting economic model. The Korean New Deal consists of two main pillars, digital and green, along with other projects to reinforce social safety nets. 10 fundamental projects will be part of the grand scheme, including a digital dam, artificial intelligence technology, eco-friendly future mobility, and green smart school. Korea's legal minimum wage for 2021 has been set at 8,721. It's a 1.5% growth from this year and the smallest raise since the system was introduced in 1988. The previous low was a 2.7% increase in 1998 during the Asian financial crisis. The Minimum Wage Commission's decision has been met with a backlash, with labor groups calling it the worst ever, and business groups saying it will add burden to already struggling businesses from the COVID-19 economic fallout. The labor minister can request the commission to reevaluate the proposed wage change by law, but there has been no such precedent. The Seoul metropolitan government has announced a plan to launch a probe into sexual abuse allegations raised against the city's late mayor Park Won-soon by his former secretary. This comes after civic groups and the attorney representing the former secretary claimed that the victim suffered unwanted physical contact and received inappropriate messages from Park for over 4 years. Seoul's three-term mayor was found dead in the mountainside of Bugaksan in the early hours last Friday. His abrupt death came a day after the former secretary filed a sexual harassment complaint with the police. Park was reportedly aware of the accusation before his death, but how he found out about it remains unknown. So Park Won-soon's sudden death shocked many people, to say the least. To tell us more about it, we're joined by our reporter Kim Hae-yeon in the studio today. Hae-yeon, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me, Kan.
So please do walk us through what happened on the night of his death.
Sure. So on Thursday, the July 9th, former Mayor Park Won-soon left his house in the morning throwing a questionable comment to his daughter, which had signaled his suicide. His daughter contacted police when Park stopped answering phone calls later that day. After long hours of search, Park's body was found on Friday in the woods at Bugaksan in Seoul after midnight. He left a handwritten note which was publicly released the very next day after his death. I have prepared Park's note. I photocopied it. So Kan, could you please read the note for us?
Sure. The note reads, "I'm sorry to everyone. I thank those who have been part of my life. I sincerely apologize to my family, whom I have given nothing but pain. Please scatter my ashes around the graves of my parents. Goodbye, everyone."
Right, so although it is strongly possible that Park knew that his former secretary had filed a complaint, his motivation under the suicide is open to various interpretation at this moment.
Right, so before we get further into this issue at hand right now, for the Korea Herald global viewers and for those who do not know much about Park Won-soon himself, who was Park?
Okay, so Park Won-soon was born in 1956 in a village in Changneung, south of Gyeongsang province, and he was the longest-serving mayor of Seoul. He started as a human rights attorney and civic activist who fought for the country's democracy. In 1994, Park stepped up to build the People's Solidarity for Participatory Democracy, known as PSPD, together with fellow social movement leaders of the time. Park had begun his political career as Seoul mayor in 2011 at the age of 55. He had been holding the post as Seoul mayor for nearly 10 years before his death. Park was undeniably thought of as one of the strongest potential candidates for the Liberals in the next presidential election expected to be held 2022, following the term of current President Moon Jae-in.
So certainly he was one of the big political big shots here in South Korea.
That's true.
But the issue is that it looks like there's a lot of different voices regarding the death of Seoul mayor and the sexual harassment allegations against him. What's that about?
Okay, yes, so there are certainly conflicting viewpoints on Park's death, both apparently those regarding the politician's feminist credentials that Park used to initiate and hold firmly. What's more problematic and devastating to realize from his supporters is the fact that Park stepped up as a lawyer to bring up the very first sexual harassment case in Korea. According to the attorney representing the accuser, former Secretary of Park, the victim had suffered unwanted physical contact both in and outside workspace for almost 4 years. And also, according to the attorney, the victim had consistently expressed her desire to transfer to another department, but Park refused the request and instead, using his power, kept on sending very inappropriate sexual messages. From then on, the victim has been suffering from severe backlash online after Park's suicide, and she requested her identity to remain anonymous at the moment.
I see. But how, let's moving on to another topic. How has the foreign media reacted to this Seoul mayor's death, and are there any differences from the Korean news outlets?
Yes, Khan, that's an interesting question. So the foreign media is now looking at Park's death with a focus on accusations of his sexual harassment. The attorney's comments spoken out to the public and media on behalf of the former secretary has been heavily dealt with during the last couple of days. The national press took sides on judging Park's former career and achievements, but also maintained a rather firm stance towards protecting the victim from short-sighted blame, and that the probe into the allegations should continue on regardless.
Yes, certainly the story is still very much a developing one, so we'll have to see what lies ahead of us and what's going to be unfolding for the next few days or even few weeks. Well, Haeyeon, thanks for your detailed report today.
Thank you, Khan.
That does it for us today. Until next time, goodbye.